As most of you have probably been aware of by now, in today's America, God seems to have turned into a four-letter word. And something most are trying to avoid declaring allegiance to in public, because in today's pop culture it's something which will garner ridicule and will brand you as strange. Last week, the rabid liberal that is Joy Behar, who is currently the co-host of The View, came under fire for saying Vice President Mike Pence has a mental illness because he listens to Jesus. But today she seems to be completely quiet about something the liberal darling Oprah Winfrey said when asked if she would run for president in 2020. Winfrey told CBS 60 Minutes Overtime that God has not told her to run for president, although there has been rabid speculation that her infamous Golden Globes speech was a preview of a potential 2020 matchup between her and President Trump. So does this mean Oprah Winfrey is also mentally ill? Joy: probably not, because you see, we are living in a world where the left has severe double standards and only attacks the other side. If Behar would come out and call Oprah mentally disturbed, as she did with our vice president, then at least she would enjoy the respect she would garner by being honest in her statements. But we all know all too well she is only a political hack, sir. She won't say a word about this. Now, as far as Oprah running, don't kind yourselves, she already has a game plan. She will try to hammer the gun control issue, especially after the Florida shooting, while at the same time tugging at the emotional strings of Americans in the way she is so great at doing. She will indeed be a formidable candidate against President Trump, but then again, after saying white people would have to, what white person, other than maybe liberals who suffer from white guilt because of things that happened over 150 years ago, would actually vote for her via the political cesspool? Oprah Winfrey has just unleashed one of the most hateful diatribes against white people that I've ever read. In a vicious anti-white tirade on the BBC, she said that in some parts of America, people are still terrorized because of the color of the skin, because of the color of the black skin. She then spewed there are still generations of people, older people, who were born and bred and marinated in that prejudice and racism, and they just have to. Oprah has become a multi-billionaire because of the opportunities given to her by white people. None of her success would have been possible if she hadn't been born in America, yet she whines that she is a victim of racism. One of her latest claims was that a saleswoman would not let her man handle a $42,000 handbag because of racism. Even so, her latest white-hating rant takes the cake. Oprah Winfrey gave her frank take on the state of racism in America and how the US has evolved as a country in an interview promoting the British release of her recent film, Lee Daniels' The Butler. It would be foolish to not recognize that we have evolved, and that we're not still facing the same kind of terrorism against black people en masse, she said in her interview with BBC arts correspondent Will Gompertz. Are there still places where people are terrorized because of the color of the skin, because of the color of the black skin? Yes, she added. But there are laws that have allowed us to progress beyond what we saw in the Scottsboro Boys and beyond the even prejudice that we see in The Butler. But Winfrey insisted that the problem would not be solved until older Americans with more racist tendencies off. As long as people can be judged by the color of the skin, the problem is not solved, she said, adding, there are still generations of people, older people, who were born and bred and marinated in that prejudice and racism, and they just have to. By racists, of course, Oprah means anyone white person who sees and speaks the truth. Furthermore, what planet is this moon bat from if she can pretend to believe that there's still places where black people are terrorized because of the color of the skin? Blacks are favored over whites by government mandate when it comes to college admissions and employment opportunities, and everyone knows it's true. Nobody should know it more than Oprah. What she has said here is thousands of times more hateful and concerning than anything Paula Deen said 30 years ago in the heat of the moment after being robbed at gunpoint by a black man. But notice the reaction that the two women received. Oprah not only gets a free pass for suggesting that the world would be better if millions of whites would, but the media treats her venomous rant as if it were thoughtful commentary. For the web powered by Zergnet Olympic figure skater handles wardrobe malfunction perfectly. The real reason you don't hear about LeAnn Rimes anymore. The letter JFK wrote to his lover a month before he died. Here's who Jackie Kennedy thought had her husband killed. This is what's at the center of Bristol Palin's divorce. Celebrities who can't stand Ellen DeGeneres.